Good afternoon, everybody. Ryan here alongside Joel.
Hello.
We are Michigan Storm Chasers. Going to go over a live briefing of what to expect this evening with our severe weather threat and also snow. Pop out the chat here. We got Colleen, we got Dawn, Kendra, Julie, Alex, Angelina, Tanya, Briley. What is going on, guys? Good afternoon to all of you. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to go ahead and dive right on into the forecast. Just before we went live, the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, went ahead and updated their day one outlook. So some of these graphics are, I'm not going to say outdated, but there's some very minor changes here, which it looks like these are actually loading pretty fast. So real no big concern there. Let's go ahead and dive in here with the forecast. So this is your SPC, severe weather outlook, and we're going to notice a couple things here. Number one, almost the entire state of Michigan is in a thunderstorm risk. That extends up toward the Marquette area, back down into the LP for all the LP as well. Now, here in dark green and in yellow areas, we have that risk for severe weather. So just general thunderstorms further north in light green. In the dark green, yellow, and orange is going to be your severe risk today. Going into the risks and outlooks for Michigan, this is the updated 12 p.m. outlook. We're going to see that marginal severe risk extends all the way up toward Ludington, Clare, the Tri Cities, back down close to Port Huron, but not quite to Port Huron, back through Detroit, Monroe, and then points to the west. Over in southwest Michigan, we have a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 in yellow. Places like Benton Harbor, Three Rivers, Sturgis, uh, New Buffalo, those general areas, all the way over to the Reading and Hillsdale County area, and then back down through Ohio and Indiana. So hazards today from the SPC. Let's go ahead and do these are not updated. Let's try to refresh these really quick. There we go. Our updated tornado risk today is a 2 and also 5% risk for the southern part of Michigan. So that extends from South Haven to Kalamazoo over toward the Jackson area, back through Adrian, back through Lambertville, and then points south and westward. Now, notice we have a 5% risk here in red brown color for Three Rivers, New Buffalo, Sturgis area, Edwardsburg, those areas close to the Indiana and perhaps Ohio border there in a higher risk for a tornado or two this evening. Going over to the wind risk, the wind is going to be the primary concern today overall out of all three hazards. And we're going to see that risk extend all the way up toward the Ludington, toward Tri-Cities, back through the Port Huron area. But again, highest in the yellow area down to southwest Michigan in that Three Rivers, Benton Harbor area. And then also hail today is a concern as well. The updated map here does draw concern for hail on the western half of lower Michigan from about Lansing to Jackson over to the west. You have a concern for a large hailstone or two. So that is your overall outlook. We can say it's an all hazards threat, mainly going to be wind and hail for a lot of you guys. And if you live in the southern part of Michigan, a tornado risk will present itself this evening. Outside of Michigan, we also have a outlook here. We have an enhanced risk for those of you with friends and family across the Illinois and Indiana area. That is going to be driven by the potential for strong tornadoes to our south and west. Not concerned for that here in Michigan, but I do want to take note of that and let you guys know we have a 10% hatched area in Illinois and Indiana for strong tornadoes. So any family and friends living out there, be a good idea to send them a heads up. Going into the model run here, let's go ahead and take it hour by hour and talk about what to expect and talk about all the ingredients as well. First and foremost, we're going to run this through the latest model guidance. Today should be dry overall. We're going to look at some snow up in the UP starting very soon here. So another thing to keep an eye out for the UP if you're watching from up there is you have a lot of snow coming your way. That'll begin this afternoon, but our severe weather concern begins to ramp up here toward the late evening time frame. The model here at 6 p.m. tonight. If you look off to the south and west, we have a line of storms, a nasty looking line pushing our direction. Here's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and about 9 o'clock or so, we have storms entering the western part of Michigan. So 7 to 9-ish arrival time here for West Michigan. That will push across the state here. Here is 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., and then by about 2 a.m., those storms have cleared. And a changeover to snow, yes, snow, is possible for the entire state. So let's talk about the ingredients for severe weather here. I want to take a zoomed out look here to the upper Midwest so you guys can see what's going on around us as well as in Michigan. So that's going to be our line to watch here. Primary concern is going to be across Illinois, Indiana, initially this afternoon. Those storms will move our way, and that is going to be the concern. Talking about our SLIM, ingredients for severe weather: shear, lift, instability, and moisture. We have a lot of lift. We have that low pressure center over Illinois providing us lift. So lift, we can check that off. Let's take a look at our wind shear here at the arrival time of storms, right about this time frame. We'll back it up right about here, 8 o'clock tonight. Let's dive into our shear parameters. Now, if you notice, we have a ton of it all throughout Michigan, back through Western Ohio, and all of Indiana. We have a high shear parameter with that, driving these updrafts to sustain themselves and remain strong and produce damaging winds, as well as a couple tornadoes. So shear, check it off. We have it. Our instability is going to be an important factor tonight, along with our moisture. So here is our surface instability here. We're seeing a wide area from about the Ludington, Big Rapids area back down through Indiana of anywhere from 300 to 700 joules of surface cape, which is going to be enough. If we get close to that 500 or so mark, that'll be plenty to support severe weather here. And that will move across the state here, kind of going into the evening hours. We're going to see that band of instability kind of push into the eastern part of Michigan as well. And that could drive that risk further east, which is why you see the SPC expand further to the east as well with their outlook. So instability is not the best, but it's going to be okay for that marginal and slight risk of severe weather. Let's also talk about our overlapping wind shear parameters with our instability. We're going to get a composite called Supercell composite. It is going to be highest in the west southwest part of Michigan here, and that does weaken as it pushes across the state here with time, but you'll see that's a very weak environment across the eastern part of Michigan by the time it gets over there. And then last but not least, our surface moisture. We've been looking at our dew points in the mid 50s or so. We want to see these as close to between 55 and 60 as possible. We're getting close to 55 here. We're getting 54, 53 in there in southwest Michigan. Going to watch that very closely today. Higher dew points, higher moisture content will support a higher severe risk here and more concern for it. But we are seeing close to that 55-degree dew point mark, which would drive severe weather. All right, let's put it all together and go over our forecast as well as talk about the snow. Starting with our general outlook. Again, this is our outlook to you guys. This isn't from the SPC. This is our thoughts to you based on our opinion of model guidance and how things are trending. So we have the highest risk. It's a medium risk, level 3 today, close to the Indiana border. So we're in agreement with the SPC on that area being more so concerning. That low risk, though, continues north to Muskegon, back through Hastings, over toward the Adrian area. And then a limited risk there in blue extends all the way up to Mayo, Grayling, over to Detroit and Cass City areas for the potential for a large hailstone or perhaps a brief damaging wind gust later on this evening as these storms progress to the east. So highest risk there in green and yellow areas, the blue risk non-zero threat, but low threat as these storms push across the state. As far as our tornado map here, we do have the highest threat there in South Michigan and West Michigan toward Niles, over toward about the Coldwater area, and then points southward into Indiana. Although we do have our little risk of 2-3% up to Muskegon, Grand Rapids, Hastings, back down through Jackson and Adrian areas, and points west. And then last but not least, the wind and hail concerns here do continue across the exact same areas of the limited risk. We have that highest risk in Niles, that general vicinity in yellow, the red and brown risk there, anywhere from Muskegon back again through Hastings, Jackson, Adrian. That's going to be your second highest risk. And then a low risk will remain over to the thumb and points north to Grayling. Same thing for the hail risk as well. A little bit lower risk for hail today. Wouldn't be shocked to see a couple large hailstones, especially as storms first arrive in the west part of Michigan. And as such, you put our highest risk over there from Holland to Kalamazoo to Coldwater and then points south and westward. That is your severe weather outlook. We also have snow to talk about in the UP. Another eastward shift of the heaviest accumulations have put the highest accumulations over toward the Sault Ste. Marie area, Paradise, Shingleton, Escanaba, 5 to 10 inches. We could see isolated higher amounts potentially, but we have seen a little bit of a downtrend in snow amounts as well. So 5 to 10 should be about what you guys end up with over there. As such, on the warning bar there below, we have winter storm warnings and advisories in effect going through the afternoon this evening, into this evening and into tomorrow morning. So do take note of that if you are up and traveling in the UP. We could have quite a bit of snow up there, as well as some wind gusts across the state today and tomorrow. In general vicinity of areas, the entire state has potential between 20 and 40 mile per hour gusts between now and the end of your Thursday time frame. That is your forecast. We'll turn to the comments here. Joel, did I miss anything?
No, that all sounded pretty good.
Sweet. Not many questions here in chat, guys. Did we do that great of a job explaining things? Are we going to go live tonight? Yes, we will. We absolutely will be live tonight in the event of any severe weather. And for those of you with friends or family out of state in Indiana, we'll be beginning our coverage in Indiana as well around that 5 o'clock time frame this evening. And we'll also go live for Michigan here around the probably closer to 7 to 8 o'clock time frame in the event of severe weather. Joel's got you covered there, as well as myself. Let's go ahead and pop up the risk back on your screen here. There we go. That is your severe risk today. Highest in yellow areas, then a low risk goes further north toward that Clare, Ludington, and Tri-City areas. Wind direction today out of the southwest. Tomorrow it will be out of the west-northwest. Any chance of a risk upgrade? Not really seeing that right now.
Question here about, is under the staircase the safest place to be in a warning? It really depends on what type of establishment you're living in. Again, if you do have a basement, underneath the stairs would be the best bet. However, if you don't have, any basement, I guess under a staircase, especially since usually there's like a closet. If you have a second story on your house, of course, that is. There's usually a closet underneath the staircase. That would be a good place to go as long as it's not an exterior wall. Otherwise, any interior room away from an exterior wall will work. No windows. And then obviously you want to protect your head as the most important part when you are taking shelter in a severe storm, because blunt force trauma is a real concern when it comes to tornadic thunderstorms. So
let's go ahead and go hour by hour. A lot of people asking for timing and locations. Let's go ahead and draw that back up here to the Michigan map and take you guys across the state with these storms. So going off the latest 14Z HRRR, which is your 10 a.m. run. We're going to figure out where this is. There it is. We're going to back this up here. So today will be pretty much dry. We'll have snow up in the UP, perhaps some rain mix up there as well, starting around the mid-afternoon time frame. Our concern for severe weather begins right around this time frame, which is 7 o'clock. We're going to go hour by hour here, so watch closely. Here's 7 p.m. tonight. Here's 8 p.m. Got some storms moving up there toward the Whitehall and points northward. Actually, not Whitehall. Up toward Ludington, Manistee area. And then the arrival of where we think the biggest concern for severe weather happens right around the 7 to 9 o'clock time frame down here. So here's 8 p.m. Here's 9 p.m. Here's 10 p.m. Here's 11 p.m. Here is midnight tonight. 1 a.m. And then there is 1 a.m. Or sorry, 2 a.m. And then going into the morning time tomorrow, we're going to notice there's going to be a changeover here to snow to start your Thursday morning. So perhaps a quick dusting or perhaps an inch of snow, a possibility across the lower part of Michigan. So we're going to go from 70 degrees today to 30 degrees tomorrow morning. Welcome to Michigan. And yeah, instability will carry itself across the state into the eastern part of Michigan. So we go ahead and time that out for our surface instability here. We're going to notice it's highest in the southwest part of Michigan there between 8 and 9 o'clock. We're getting close to 700 joules of surface cape. But that pushes across the state as well of a couple hundred joules. So it's not the best environment, but it could be enough to produce severe wind gusts as well as large hail further east as well through the overnight period. So, and also we see a resurgence there after storms move through. We see a couple areas and pockets of higher instability, but at this point in time, the storms are out of the state. So,
I was muted. No, I'm not. I was gonna say something about travel impacts, and I did, and I completely realized that I was muted the entire time. Because I'm trying to make sure that you're not echoing back at me, which obviously is a problem right now. But as for travel, I know a lot of you guys were talking about, wondering about, I guess you could say, flights and travel impacts for tomorrow morning. And kind of the TLDR of what I just said while I was muted is right now, the past couple of days, these temperatures are going to be in the 60s and 70s even. And even going back into last week, we had temperatures in the 70s as well. So even if we do get maybe like an inch of snow, daytime temperatures tomorrow are going to get above freezing, and because we've had all these warm temperatures previously, the ground's warm. It's starting to soften up a little bit, so a lot of that warmer air is being retained right now in the ground, and so again, what will fall will melt pretty quickly. So a couple slick spots tomorrow morning, but otherwise it should be pretty smooth sailing the rest of the day.
is shear significant for the southeast area for tornadoes? Jackie, good question. The shear is going to be about the same across the board. The problem with the southeast part of Michigan for that tornadic risk is less instability. We're definitely seeing the highest amount in the green and reds area here from the SPC. We agree with that for the most part. Our risk for tornadoes also kind of mirrors that in a way. We think there's a risk a bit further higher north there toward Muskegon. But regardless, the west and south part of Michigan has the most fuel, so to speak, for tornadoes, whereas the east side doesn't have as much fuel. So much lower concern over there. Wind gusts between today and Thursday will be between 20 and 40 miles per hour. So it's not going to be as significant as this past weekend. We had 50 to 60 gusts. We had, I think, close to 80,000 people in Michigan without power. I wouldn't expect a repeat of that this time around. The winds are going to be pretty tame in comparison to what we had this past weekend. The risk for a tornado from the SPC is 2% for areas from South Haven to Kalamazoo to southwest Jackson County through Adrian back through Lambertville, and then a 5% risk down for Three Rivers, Sturgis, and New Buffalo areas. And we're pretty much in agreement with that. And looking at our tornado risk as well, we see similar percentages for the exact same areas. So we're pretty much in agreement there. We just kind of feel it extends a little bit further north and a little bit further to the east from the SPC has it. So on your screen there is ours. Percentages and colors are coordinated to the left side of your image there. And then for the SPC, very similar picture here. And also their probabilities are in the bottom right of these images.
It's a question here about the probabilities of a watch being issued, or warnings, I guess you could say in general. And to answer that question, because the main hazard to our south today is actually that tornado threat, they would probably issue a tornado watch, and that tornado watch would probably encompass, if any, counties in Michigan, probably Berrien, Cass, St. Joseph at the most. Again, they make watches for big, broad areas, so just in case it does go downstream, the hazards continue downstream, they will obviously want to make that watch go into southern Michigan. Even though southern Michigan obviously isn't that 10% hatched, again, tornadoes are still possible down there, so having a tornado watch out is not the worst thing in the world. And they always obviously add the other hazards as well in a tornado watch, such as damaging winds and hail. Probably about an inch and a quarter today, but again, nothing too severe for hail. Again, it's going to be primarily a wind threat and a tornado threat. So it's either going to be it's probably going to be a tornado watch, but if they think it's going to downtrend today, it'll probably go with a severe thunderstorm watch for those counties I just mentioned.
As far as time frames on watches, we'll probably get one. I'm going to probably guess right around that between 5 and 7 o'clock time frame, if I had to guess. They usually don't issue watches this far in advance, so we got to wait many more hours until we get an idea of what they're thinking. We're also still watching models and kind of seeing how the day's evolving too. So it's still a changing and evolving day. So things can still change. The SPC will update one more time at 4 p.m. So if any changes to this outlook are going to be made from the SPC, it'll happen at that time. And yes, there is a statewide voluntary tornado siren test going on in about a half hour at 1 p.m. So if you do hear sirens at 1 p.m., it is a test only. They are going to go ahead and continue doing that, even with the risk of severe tonight. So don't be freaked out. There's nothing happening in the state at 1 p.m. It's just going to be your regular test. I also want to mention that as well. It's also a good idea if you happen to live near a siren to figure out if you can hear it. We always tell people don't rely on sirens as your way of receiving warnings. It's a way to receive warnings, but don't rely solely on it to wake you up at night, for example. Always have multiple ways, like a weather radio, an app. Don't rely specifically on your sirens to alert you because there are so many fail modes. It's not reliable.
Retweet.
If you can hear it, that's great. If your township is good at sounding them, that's great. But across the state of Michigan, sirens are sounded based on different criteria for different areas, different townships, different counties. So, for example, up in Oakland County, that's near the Detroit area, if there is a severe or tornado warning in the county, the entire county sounds their sirens. Down here in Lenawee County, where I live, every township is responsible for sounding their sirens, and oftentimes nothing gets sounded for tornado warnings. So, they're not always the best to receive warnings.
And the reason why they're testing them this week is because it is Severe Weather Awareness Week in Michigan. So it is kind of fitting that we do have severe weather on Severe Weather Awareness Week. In years past, we haven't. So kind of a good way to practice and then perhaps take action on your severe weather ready plan if you do happen to engage in that today.
Yeah, use it if you have kids, if you have loved ones. It's always great to kind of have an idea or have a severe weather plan in mind, but also on these days where they do these tests, take action, practice your plan, with your kids and make sure they know what to do in the event of a tornado or severe warning too. So it's a great reminder there.
Are all sirens triggered by local humans? And the answer to that is yes. Again, the National Weather Service offices do not sound those. Those are issued by township offices, fire departments, law enforcement officers, wherever they're located. And sometimes it's like big offices that they control them all county-wide. Like Kent County has they sound them all at the same time from one centralized location.
Right.
Other counties just, they have the fire department go out and sound them. So
And
again, that's why we say they're not as reliable, and it's one of the most unreliable sources to get weather information on a severe weather day.
And yeah, so people, I want to make note of that too, Joel. Some townships and some counties do opt to sound their sirens if there is a warning issued. So sometimes those sirens will sound at the exact same time a warning is issued. So it may seem like the NWS is sounding those. It's not. It's just your county that's signed up to activate their sirens based on warning criteria. So, and yeah, it could be anything from fire departments, city officials, mayors. There's, if I had to guess, probably 20 different types of titles and officials who could sound these sirens. So it's not a good way to rely on.
I like this question here from Ashley on Facebook. What is the best place to be in an apartment if you are on the top floor? I can attest to that. I'm sitting on the top floor of an apartment right now myself. The easy answer to say is make friends with your downstairs neighbor in the event that you do have to take shelter. It's going to be your easiest, quickest way to take shelter. If they're home, of course. But otherwise, any interior room on the top floor, if possible. I know it's not the best place, but an interior room is obviously going to be your best bet. Otherwise, you probably will want to travel a little bit and find a ground floor or a basement somewhere else other than the top floor of your apartment.
So here's my initial thought with apartment complexes. Most complexes have hallways in the center of the first floor. Some have laundry rooms. Those would be a good spot there. There's a lot of pipes there. There's a lot of interior walls. Go to the ground floor, and if you have a hallway, if you don't have a hallway, then yeah, you probably need to find alternative shelter.
Now, with that, you do have to be careful though, because some hallways go straight through, like they're outside hallways. If that's the case, then that means wind's going to funnel through, and it's actually going to make you more susceptible flying debris. So as long as it's a enclosed hallway, you want to take shelter in that. It's kind of like the same effect for like if you're under an overpass, the wind just funnels through and um, you're more susceptible to getting sucked out or getting debris thrown at you.
Yep.
The best bet if you are in a trailer park is to find alternate shelter. Again, that's why on Severe Weather Awareness a week like it is today, it is good to enact a plan. Again, our National Weather Service offices do a pretty good job nowadays with the technology that they have to issue them about 15, 30 minutes in advance. So, or I should say for warnings. Not always, obviously, but as long as you have ways to receive just severe weather bulletins in the first place on severe weather days, so us here at Michigan Storm Chasers, you'll never be out of the loop. We're always tracking them days in advance, so you know when severe weather days are going to happen. But again, if you live in a trailer park, especially on like tornado days, big damaging wind days, you probably want to seek alternate shelter within a relatively good driving distance. Obviously, 5-10 minutes down the road, no more. That way, you're not trying to outrun it, because again, outrunning a tornado is not recommended.
I want to make a note here, Joel, with this system. We're seeing the center of it right here, but we're getting dust pulled up from Texas again into the system, which is clouding over skies. So, what that could do today for the risk is it could do a couple things. Number one, it could limit overall instability, not enough surface heating, but also dirty rain again. Don't be shocked if you have some dust spots or dirty spots on your cars by the time I wake up tomorrow morning, because we're getting a lot of dust picked up from the system again. Are we on TikTok? Yes, we are. We're not as active there. We're trying to get active on it, but we do have TikTok. Yes.
I need to stop muting myself. I'm so sick and tired of it. I'm gonna go buy some AirPods literally like tomorrow or something, because I'm sick and tired of having to mute every time that you're speaking. Anyways, the one question that I was answering from our Twitch channel. By the way, if you haven't followed us on Twitch yet, follow us on Twitch. What if I don't have any interior walls in my house? And the answer to that is bathtub. Again, bathtubs are supposedly, it should be anchored to the ground. I mean, if your bathtub's not, then obviously we have a problem. But what you want to do is get in a bathtub, and then you want to put something over you to protect you from falling debris. So that would be a mattress, and that answers another question in here that goes along with, if I don't have a helmet, can I use a mattress? And the answer to that is yes. It's like a big cushion over your head. So highly recommend a mattress if you don't have a helmet. There's another question here I was going to answer too. Oh, are we on TikTok? Yes, we are on TikTok. MI Storm Chasers. Upper Peninsula Spalding area, you guys are just going to get a lot of cold rain and then obviously snow tonight. Nothing in terms of severe weather up there. You could say you're going to get hail, but it's going to be more like sleet and ice pellets. That's not associated with any thunderstorms, so it's more symptomatically related, meaning system related. We We do have chasers active today. They are going to, I think most of them are going to be starting in Illinois, Indiana, right, Ryan, and then working their way back as the storms come into Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got Drew, we got Ben, we got Aaron Chandler, um, we got Parker from Indiana. So we have numerous chasers going out. So we'll have you guys covered as these storms approach Michigan. If you guys want to tune in to our coverage in Indiana as well, that Michigan is kind of slower to start the evening, you can hop over onto the Indiana Storm Chasing Network. You're going to find Caleb and probably myself there to start the stream, and I'll pop over here to Michigan, kind of bounce back and forth as needed. But we'll be live both. Joel has you guys covered at MSC, and then Caleb will be leading the way on Indiana's account today. So
Going along with that, if you know anybody that lives in Indiana and they could use the severe weather coverage, kind of similar to what we have here going on in Michigan, Indiana Storm Chasing Network is the page to follow because we do run that and Michigan Storm Chasers at the same time. So go give them a follow if you haven't already, and then obviously share that with the friends and family that do live in Indiana. And also to go along with that, we're getting into our busy season here in Michigan in terms of tourism. So if you have a lot of friends and family coming from out of state, it would not be a bad idea to share this page, both pages, I guess you could say, with them as well, especially if they're coming up for like a week or two in the summer or spring here when we get into our first active season of the year for severe weather. So Ryan's sharing that Indiana Storm Chasing Network right now for you guys.
This is what the page looks like. There's a lot of Indiana accounts out there. We are the one with the white Indiana State outline and a red logo. That's what it looks like.
Are pets safe during tornado? Loose or in a crate? I would have to imagine in a crate because it does add some protection, especially if it's a full covered crate. Again, that's basically like you're getting in a bathtub, but for pets, they're getting into a crate and then putting a cover over them. So I would say a crate if you have them out and about running around. Again, they're just susceptible to flying debris as we would be. So in a crate would be the best.
And if you can, take them to your basement too if you're heading to shelter.
Correct. Yeah, do not leave them. Do not leave without them, I guess you could say, unless like you're in an
definitely
extreme hurry. But that's why you enact your plan ahead of time, so you don't have to be in that position.
And don't leave them outside either.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely don't leave them outside.
All right, let's go ahead and go over everything like very quickly here. I see a lot of questions for locations, so if you guys are just tuning in, I'll give you guys a very brief overview. We have severe weather going on today from Ludington down, or severe weather possibilities potential today from about Ludington down to the Clare area, Tri-Cities over to the Port Huron area, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Pontiac, Lansing, Flint, Alma, Ionia, Hastings, Kalamazoo, Jackson, Adrian, Monroe, Coldwater, Hillsdale, Holland, Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Big Rapids, Pentwater. Highest risk down here in the yellow zone, Three Rivers, Benton Harbor, New Buffalo, Sturgis, all the way down here toward the what town's down there? Nottawa, Sherwood, Colon areas. Highest risk there in yellow. The risk today is going to be damaging winds. That's your primary concern. Secondary concern, large hail for the west part of Michigan there. And then there's also a concern for a couple tornadoes as a possibility, especially for areas along and south of I-94 in the southern part of Michigan, and especially southwest. Highest risk for tornadoes is in the red-brown zone. We do think the risk extends a little bit further north toward Muskegon, perhaps over toward Hastings as well. We had our own forecast out for this. This is our version of the outlook, our thoughts, and that is a low risk from Muskegon down to about Hastings, down to about the Adrian area, and then points westward. Highest, again, Niles, Coldwater, and Sturgis areas in the brown-red color. All right. Time frame for these severe weather threat. Time frame for the potential severe weather threat is going to be after 7 p.m. tonight. We're going to roll through the hour by hour here, so watch closely as I do this. We're going to start at the current time, which is noon. Here's 1 o'clock. Here is 2 o'clock. We're going to start seeing some mix of snow and rain up there in the northern part of Michigan. Our risk for severe weather continues to push our way in by about 7 o'clock tonight here on the model. We're going to start seeing the arrival or close to the arrival of these thunderstorms in the western part of Michigan. Here's 8 p.m. Here is 9 p.m. Here is 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., and by 2 in the morning, that line is out of the state. But we do have snow on the backside that may dump an inch or so for your commute Thursday morning. So do expect there to be at least some potential for slick spots as temperatures do drop overnight behind this system, and it will change over to snow. Nothing significant for the LP, but for the UP, we could see as much as 5 to 10, maybe even a foot of snow in some spots across the east and central portions of the UP. Notice that trace to an inch goes all the way down south to about the Kalamazoo, Jackson, and Romeo, Port Huron areas. Most of that will fall overnight into Thursday morning. All right, if you guys still have questions, put them in chat. Otherwise, we'll probably look to hop out of here and continue our operations here. We got to do some planning and get stuff set up for our streams tonight. So we'll take about 5 more minutes of questions, if any, and we will go from there. And while you guys put your questions in chat here, I want to give a shout out to today's spotlight sponsor, Kuiper Tree Care. Kuiper Tree Care, based out of the Grand Rapids area. Give them a call if you need something. If something comes down today from your severe winds, or if a tornado happens, got some tree damage on your property, give Kuiper a call, 616-828-8225. Again, servicing the Grand Rapids area. Also want to say thank you to Kuiper for being today's spotlight sponsor. We also have numerous other sponsors that we like to shout out as they support our operations here. StormGuard Roofing and Construction, based out of the Detroit metro area. We also have Pro Powder, based out of the South Haven area for commercial and residential powder coating needs. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, based in St. Clair and Sanilac counties in Thumb, Michigan. McKay Tree Specialist in Southeast Michigan. We have Lifestyle Exteriors, based out of the Lansing area. We also have Katz Roofing and Siding, based out of Powderville. Gull Lake Tree Pro, based out of Kalamazoo. Garjan Technologies, out of the Burton area. On Top Roofing in Southeast Michigan. And then Henkel's Tree Care in the far southwest St. Joseph County area. All these sponsors here keep operations rocking and rolling at Michigan Storm Chasers. We appreciate every single one of them. And if you happen to need some of their services from tree, roofing, exterior, siding, gutters, or security or powder coating needs, give one of our sponsors a call. They would appreciate that. And tell them that we sent you their way. They would appreciate that. All right, going back to chat here. We're going to finish up here on some final questions, if anything. Will this continue into tomorrow for the Fenton area? Severe weather? No. Snow potentially for the morning on Thursday, but no concern for severe weather past that midnight to, we're going to say 2 a.m. at the latest time frame.
Ryan, before you continue there, we did have a member coming back for month number 9. It's Pacify ASMR back at the beginning of the stream. I forgot to stop you there, but thank you, Pacify, for becoming a member for month number 9 here at Michigan Storm Chasers on YouTube. Appreciate you. And again, if you guys want to become a member here at Michigan Storm Chasers, hit that join button at the bottom of your screen there on YouTube. You can join the team. Otherwise, subscribing for free is always something that we recommend.
You can also turn on notifications on YouTube and also Facebook as well. On YouTube, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And if you're on Facebook, if you want to be notified anytime we go live, type in the exclamation point and then the word notify, all one, no spaces. And Facebook will push a notification to you on your feed anytime that we go live.
Mm-hmm. Are we looking at spin-up tornadoes or stronger and longer-lasting ones in the southern part of Michigan? Answer is going to be probably the shorter ones, QLCS spin-ups as we call them. Any long-tracked ones are going to be down there in the Illinois, perhaps Indiana region where that 10% hatched exists. Again, 10% hatched means there is a 10% or greater chance at seeing an EF2, which is a significant tornado there today. And usually significant tornadoes are associated with longer-track supercells. And as we saw painted on the HRRR model runs over the past couple hours, we was just seeing a line of supercells that kind of goes up and down the central Illinois corridor there, even into western Indiana. There you go.
Yep. So it'll probably be a pretty intense day out there if the moisture and if we get enough instability. Probably be a good day for tornadoes out in Illinois and probably western Indiana as well. But luckily, you're going to see the bulk of this stays off to our south and to our west here. Go ahead and animate this through for a little bit more of a regional look. They begin to push, and we could see that line again, the top of that line in the southwest part of Michigan, which is why we're concerned more for southwest Michigan. But this concern does extend to Indiana, but also back especially here further in Illinois and in western Indiana. Red Dozer with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Red. Appreciate your support.
Thank you as always, Red. Appreciate you.
And don't forget, guys, in about 13 minutes, about 1 p.m., we do have that statewide voluntary siren test. Your county or township or city may participate in that, so don't be shocked if you hear sirens here in the next about 13 minutes here. 1 o'clock, they should be sounding. So do not be alarmed. I'll put a post out at 1 o'clock. If you're hearing sirens, it is a test. It is no imminent threat. I'll put
That's a good idea. Plus, you have a briefing to get. We have a briefing to get to for Indiana here at 1 as well.
One last time here before we pop out, I will say this: if you have friends, family, or if you want to tune into our coverage in Indiana before Michigan goes severe, feel free to hop over and follow this page, Indiana Storm Chasing Network. Caleb will be leading the way on stream tonight with radar operations. We also have multiple chasers who will be over chasing for ISCN before they hop over into Michigan. So if you want to track these storms as they move toward Michigan, you'll probably catch Caleb and probably myself on there starting right around 5 o'clock. And then Michigan will probably start probably closer to 7 or 8. So probably be a 2 or 3 hour gap there of no coverage from us here in Michigan, but we'll be live on ISCN. So feel free, direct your family and friends who live in Indiana that way. If you want to go ahead and follow that page as well, much appreciated. We're trying to grow it and start full-time operations over there as well. So with that being said, we will catch you guys later. We'll have our full forecast package posted here on the page, probably closer to 2 o'clock, Joel, you want to say? 1:45, 2 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm going to work on it. And then, yeah, it should be up by 2. That way it's no later before the event starts.
Yep. So if you want to read our thoughts and everything, we'll have that on the page by 2 o'clock for you guys. But with that being said, go ahead, Joel.
If we miss any of your questions, feel free to post them on our next post on our page. I know there's a lot still scrolling through here right now. I've been reading them all, but we are going to hop off because we do got to do the briefing for Indiana. Again, if you do have any questions, obviously let us know over there on our Facebook page. Just put them in the comments and we will do our best to answer them. So, again, we wish we could get to all of them, but again, it's crunched for time today, and then we got some live coverage coming later tonight. So,
all righty. We're going to pop out of here. You guys enjoy your afternoon, and we'll keep you guys updated through the afternoon here at Michigan Storm Chasers and over on Indiana Storm Chasing Network. We'll catch you guys more than likely sometime this evening.
Stay safe, everyone. See you later.